Hello, YouTube. Um, Today's video, I'm going to be talking about the marketing for James Gunn's Superman. Um, Now I know, anybody here, who watches me knows that I have done quite a few videos on this already. Um, I've talked about everything about this movie. Um, like I've talked about, everything about this movie so far from the alleged plot leak to how horrible the costumes look to why I think, James Gunn, shouldn't be, even allowed to do this movie um, to why I think he is, to why I think, he is, such a bad choice for this movie. Um, I pretty much, touched upon, like every corner, um, of this movie so far. However, one thing that I have not talked about, um, one part of the movie that I have not talked about yet, is the marketing for this movie and how, um, and how there is a very big lack of promotion, um, for this movie on James Gunn's part. Now, anybody, who has seen my past, Superman, videos that I've made, on this matter already. And even, I've talked about it a little bit in some of my other videos too, you know, uh, but anybody here anybody here, who is watching me, who already watches me, knows, like how I James Gunn and how and just how and just how like how I feel about him and just how absolutely disgusting of a human being I think he is. Um, and um, Something else I wanted to touch upon is, in addition to the lack of marketing for this movie, which I will get into in just a second, I wanted to show off. I wanted to show you guys. Um, I wanted to show you guys the picture of Krypto that was shown off not that long ago. Actually, it dropped, and I want to show you guys this picture. Um, I tried I tried to use it, as my cover photo for this video. However, when I went to upload the video, for whatever reason, like when I was making the video and I was looking for pictures, my computer for whatever reason wouldn't let me use this picture. So I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to show you guys this way. But this I hope you guys can see that okay. This is what Krypto is gonna look like. Okay. And according to this, I mean, and not to mention, I mean, look how bad this looks. Look how horrible this looks. He looks, um, he looks like he's been living on the streets his whole life. I mean, now, according to, um, and the reason he looks, he looks like he does is because, you know, uh, is, the reason why he looks like that is, big fucking surprise, is James Gunn apparently based his design on his dog that he adopted shortly after he started working on Superman. Um, this goes under my favorite. This goes under one of my favorite categories, and this goes under one of my favorite categories of James Gunn. And yes, I'm being very sarcastic here, and that is. I feel the need to I feel the need to insert my family in fucking everything that I do. That is something, that is a very serious problem because because you because it's not. I'm trying to think of a way to best word this or describe it. I mean, in my opinion, what it really narrows down to is just creative bankruptcy and laziness. Like you don't see, you don't see, like Quentin Tarantino or Martin Scorsese or, like Christopher Nolan inserting, like their families into everything that they do, and, now somebody that I know who has done this in the past, and I absolutely love his work is Sam Raimi. However, there is a huge difference from the way Sam Raimi does it and from the way that James Gunn does it. James Gunn does it out of, he does it because it's just, it's his thing. It's ego. It's just, it's how he operates. And it's ridiculous. And it's, and it just, for me, it makes me very, very, it makes it very, very hard for me to get excited about, about his, about his stuff. Excuse me. And, and it, and, and, and he does it, and, and he just, he does it with everything that he does. And it just, and he just, he does it with everything that he does. And it's just, it's, it's like, it's like, it's like, why? I mean, like, why, why is it necessary? And, like, I know that, Christopher Nolan, has kind of done the same thing because both he and his brother are, both he and his brother Jonathan are, they usually end up doing, or they usually end up, doing the script for, for Nolan's movies together. And the two of them are very, 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 very talented. They are very, very gifted and talented writers. And James Gunn, he just, he does it. It's like, it's like he does it just to do it, but anyway, I don't want to, I don't want to harp on that too much in this video, because I do want to get back to what I was saying before about the marketing. I know I've talked about, this in the past, and that is James Gunn has no fucking clue what he's doing in this. Oh, sorry guys, hold on. In this, for this movie, I've already, and like I said at the beginning of this video, I've already talked about, like the plot leak and the costume designs and and everything else. However, this movie, and I know I've said this before in in my video, in my past videos as well. This movie, one of the other reasons, this movie is already dead on arrival. Like I've already talked, to death about like how bad I think this movie is going to be. However, one of the things, in addition to, all the other things that I've talked about, in addition to, all the other, all the other things about this movie that I've talked about, a huge factor, a huge factor that goes into making a movie is the marketing. And, you need to promote, you obviously need to promote your movie. You need to get people invested and, interested, in the movie that you're making. And, and James Gunn is not, he's not doing that. Like, for example, New York Comic Con was just last month. Excuse me, sorry. The New York Comic Con was just last month. And from what I understand, he was actually there. Like he actually went to New York Comic Con last month, and literally all he did the entire time was promote his fucking Creature Commandos animated show that's dropping on Max. Next month. Literally, not one word. Literally, not one thing was shown off for Superman, and literally all he did was mention. Literally, all he did in terms of that movie was mention it in passing. Literally, that is it. And now remember, this movie is scheduled to hit theaters July 2025. So when do you think is the time to start promoting this movie? Think about it. This year is almost over. Next month is is December, and then by the time by the time New Year's comes around, we will have January, February, March, April, May, June, and then July. 7 months until that movie hits theaters. Come January. So, like take Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, for example, right? Zack Snyder started promoting that movie months in advance before the before the movie came out. Months in advance before the movie came out. And months in advance before the movie came out. And Zack Snyder, he was all over social media, like promoting the movie and showing off, like um, I remember in 2013 when the first image for Cavill Superman was dropped. And I remember seeing it for the first time and going, you know what? This looks really, really good. Um, the costume is not the costume, looks a little different. It's not um it's not, it's obviously not, like the classic costume, that you're used to seeing. However, but when I saw the movie, the costume when I saw the movie, the costume did grow on me over time. And so my point is, with Man of Steel, the movie was marketed well, so it did well. It made um it made the movie was marketed well, it was promoted well, so it did well. It made a really, really good profit. This movie, you know, this movie is not, James Gunn is not promoting this movie right now like he should be. And, not only is he not promoting, not only, is he not promoting the movie right now like he should be, but literally all he's dropping, literally his idea of promoting this movie is just dropping, like small things every now and then. I mean, and and this is, and this is, and I don't remember if I said this in my video. I don't remember if I brought this up, if I brought this up yet or not. But you know, uh, remember, guys, James Gunn is now the head of DC Film Studios. Okay, and his job is, his job is not to promote, just his stuff, but all of DC as a whole. So that includes, like Matt Reeves, the Batman, the Penguin, um, anything that DC, anything that DC has coming out. But James Gunn cares about one thing and one thing only, and that is James Gunn. He doesn't, like the Penguin spinoff is the highest rated, is the highest rated property that DC has out right now. The second episode of the Penguin earned like 1.6 million views, in viewership. And but does James Gunn give two shits about that? No, of course not, because he cares about one thing and one thing only, and that is his stuff and his stuff alone. That's all he cares about. That's it. And and he's got, I know I've talked about this before in my previous Superman videos, but it's just, he's got no fucking clue what he's doing. He really, really doesn't. He's not promoting, his Superman movie like he should. Like for example, take Transformers 1, for example, which I didn't see, but I heard was phenomenal. That movie was a flaw. That movie, despite, despite the raving reviews that it got, like it got outstanding reviews. However, it flopped. That movie flopped because it wasn't marketed well. That movie was marketed, as like a kids movie, and it was and that's not what and from what I understand, that's not what that movie is at all. That movie was geared towards kids as well as adults. It's geared towards like Transformers fans, kids, kids and adults alike. It bombed. It bombed because it wasn't marketed correctly, and and that and that's why it bombed at the box office. And this is what I'm getting at. This is this is the kind of stuff that I'm getting at. Is now is the time to be promoting your movie. James Gunn probably thinks, oh, um we've got like X amount of months. There's still time, to promote this piece of shit. No, now is the time to promote your movie. It would be like for example, like for example, like waiting until the last minute to promote something is going to come back and bite you in the ass. It's not going to do you any favors in the long run. It's not. And I've already stated, um, in my previous videos why I think James Gunn, shouldn't be doing this. You know, shouldn't, shouldn't be doing this. And, and one of the things that I really, 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 really hate about James Gunn is his ego. And, like, for example, um, like for example, like for example, when he started working on this movie, when he first started working on this movie, he started, like this bullshit speech online about how, oh, it's such an honor to be working on this movie and yada yada yada. It's it's like it was an honor. You fucking chose yourself for this movie. You are the head of DC Studios now. You did nobody, nobody, nobody chose you. Nobody, like handpicked you to do this movie. You fucking chose yourself to do this movie. And as much as I hate, you know, as much as I hate James Gunn, there are two things that James Gunn is good at. Stuff like this and stuff like this. The uncommon, obscure characters. Superman is an American icon. He is one of the most beloved, characters of all time. He was first introduced in 1938 in Action Comics #1, and he's been around ever since. Everybody in America knows who Superman is. And, and like pretty much, anyone from any language can look at him and go, oh yeah, it's Superman. Like it's not, like you'd have to, you'd have to go a long way to find someone, who doesn't, who doesn't know who Superman is. And I mean, don't get me wrong, don't get me wrong, I want them, I want this movie to be good. However, there are so many red flags. um However, there are just, there are so many red flags going for this movie that I don't, that I don't, I don't expect, um this movie to be good. Now, if by some miracle I'm wrong, if by some miracle I am wrong, I will literally make a video. I will literally, make a video and say, I take it all back. I was wrong. I I promised you, I promised you guys that, that you will always hear the truth from me, and you will. You will always have my honest, um, you will always have my honest, um, thoughts and input, of how, of how I, of how I feel about something, whether, whether it's negative or positive. If by some miracle this movie turns out to be good and I am wrong, I will make a video and say, you know what? I take it all back. I was wrong. However, I don't think, nothing that I have seen and heard about this movie so far is, is, says, says that I am, you know, and, I think, I think I said this in one of my previous, I think I said this, in one of my, in one of my previous videos. Um, I am somebody, who hates surprises. I can't just go into something, without knowing, without knowing, 100% what it is that I'm getting into. It's like, it's like, if this is, like, if this is going to be a shit show, if, if something is going to be a shit show, if I'm going to end up, um, if, like, if something, if something is going to be a shit show, if something is just going to be a waste of my time, then I want to know in advance, so I can, so I can make, the decision to either, say, okay, yes, I'm going to go see it, and, and talk about, and, so I can, so I can make a video, and, so I can make a video, and, and talk about my thoughts on it, or make a decision to say, you know what, I'm not even going to bother. So, um, and just, yeah, no, James Gunn is just, yeah, he, I, I've never seen, um, I've never seen, somebody, who, who has been in charge, who has been in charge, for less than the amount of time that James Gunn has, and just literally have no fucking clue what they're doing. I mean, the Penguin, like, like like the Penguin show is literally like the highest rated, you know, uh, is literally, like the highest rated thing that DC has going on right now. And, and James Gunn is just basically like, but, one thing's for sure though, his Superman movie is gonna make or break his DCU. Like, like if this movie fails, and I truly believe that it will, but but if this movie fails, then that's it. James Gunn will be out the door, and James Gunn will be out the door, and there won't be and there won't be any more, and his DCU will be over. Um, from what I understand, there are no plans right now to renew his contract, which thank God, because he has done so much damage. Um, um, but and it's not just me. Like a lot of people, people people, like all over Twitter are hating on this movie. Um, are just, are very, 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 very skeptical, um, about this movie. Um, fans are very, 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 very divided. Um, you know, at, at like how the costume looks and how the movie is, and and everything that has been shown off so far. Um, from what I understand, we're supposed to be getting a trailer at some point next month for this movie, which I will probably be making a video of at some point. And I will be giving you, my thoughts, on the trailer, um, and and stuff like that. Um, but James Gunn, given like his track record and and how he handles, um, like James Gunn, one of the things that pisses me off about James Gunn is just he can't get out of his own way. Like he can't get out of his own, like comedic, uh, he can't get out of his own, like he can't get out of his own, like comedic way, and that worked for, it worked for, Guardians of the Galaxy, and it worked, um, for Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, but for Superman, it's just that's not, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work for someone like Superman. It wouldn't, and he has a very, Gunn has a very, um, specific style, and that style is really all he, is really all he knows. It's all he ever, um, it's all he really does. It worked. It worked. It worked for this. It worked for, Peacemaker, but 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 for Superman, for someone like Superman, it's just, like after the first, like one of the biggest examples, after the first Richard Donner, um, Superman movie, when they replaced Richard Donner with, who was it? Richard Lester. Um, and they went the more and they went the more you know like and they went the more comedic route. That was ridiculous. That was so stupid. There were so many reasons why that didn't work, you know, and you know, and I and you know, and and you know, and um, but I'm not. But all we can do now is just wait for it's just wait and see, wait until that trailer drops. Um, wait until that trailer drops and see and see what people and see what people say about it. I am honestly expecting um I am honestly expecting more backlash because again everybody online is hating on this movie. They hate the costume. They hate um that they hate the costume design. They hate how literally everything that's being shown off is just getting worse and worse and worse. um and yeah, I mean, so again, we'll see. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. Let me know what your thoughts are. Like, subscribe, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace.